Expendables was released in 2010 and it was directed by Sylvester Stallone, and it features a host of action stars from the 80s and the 90s and those that are up and coming, including Jason Statham, Terry Crews and Randy Couture. The Expendables tells a story of a group of mercenaries led by Barney Ross, played by Sylvester Stallone, who's been hired by the CIA to take down a ruthless dictator of a fictional island called Velena. As always guys, thank you for supporting this channel. Keep on supporting it. Please hit that subscribe button so you can follow this channel. Hit that alarm bell as well so you can get notifications from me when my videos are going to be uploaded, and also help give this video a like as well. I remember seeing this film in 2010 with my boy Joe Cobra. We saw this in the evening. The plot, the performances, the characterization, the writing all take second place. The Expendables is a nod to the action films of the 80s and the 90s that we all grew up watching. This film is firmly tongue-in-cheek, thoroughly entertaining from start to finish, and it has so many hallmarks from the 1980s and the 1990s action films. The one-liners and dialogue, the brilliant hand-to-hand combat sequences, the brutal shootouts, the action sequences, the music, the tension, it's all within this film. This film, I would say, is more like a modern-day Dirty Dozen. It knows what it wants to do and it achieves it. And Stallone, who was a master in that genre, who started in that genre in the 80s and the 90s, knew what he was doing and brought that element to this film over here. Some of the death scenes, people's heads being blown off. One guy behind me, he was so excited. It was like, Jesus Christ, my word. And when I turned around, I realized it was my parish priest. He was that excited when he saw The Expendables. Whilst The Expendables may not be up there in the top 10 of greatest action films of all time, it is certainly a brilliant effort. You got these guys who are in their late 50s, early 60s. The Expendables doesn't rely on visual effects driven sequences. It is very, very practical and very, very realistic. The Expendables has so many defining moments in this film that you watch it and you think, my word. Especially if you grew up in the 80s like I did. So you actually get to see Dolph Lundgren and Sylvester Stallone share a screen for the first time in 25 years. These guys played Ivan Drago and Rocky in Rocky IV. The Expendables represented Dolph Lundgren's first cinematic release since Johnny Mnemonic in 1995. And just to see these two together, you don't think Barney Ross and Gunnar, you think Rocky and Ivan Drago. And 8 years later, they would reprise these roles in Creed 2. The most talked about scene in The Expendables was to see three of the greatest action stars in movie history, Stallone, Willis, Schwarzenegger, all share a screen together for the very, very first time. These guys were at the top of their game. In the 90s, they set up a movie-themed restaurant called Planet Hollywood, but you never actually got to see them on film. So when you see them on screen for the very first time, to see Arnie come in at the very last minute in that scene, everybody in the cinema just went, whoa, because we knew what was going to happen. And it was a short scene, but it just worked so well. There were so many in-jokes in the film. Arnie is always saying, give this joke to my friend here. He likes playing in the jungle, right? And that was a nod to Rambo, one of Stallone's more iconic characters. And it's a shame that these guys didn't share any action sequences together in the first film, but they would together in the second film.
I'm almost out. I'll be back.
You've been back enough. I'll be back.
Yippee-ki-yay. Who is next? Rambo?
Seeing those three together on screen for the first time was like seeing Pacino and De Niro share a screen in Heat. Or when Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy first started together for the very first time in Harlem Nights. You had the absolute best at the top of their game starring together for the very first time. And that is exactly what that scene in Expendables represented. The Expendables shows everybody that, you know what, we can do it just as good as you. And Stallone showed no signs of slowing down. He was 64 when he took on this role. And he had his fair share of cuts and bruises. He even broke his back. One scene in particular where he and Stone Cold Steve Austin were brawling. Stone Cold Steve Austin's character rams him into a wall. Stallone actually did some severe damage to his back, which required surgery. There are so many A-list actors and classic action stars in this film. This film had the potential to be overwhelmed with star power. It could have gone one of several ways, where there could have been action stars who didn't serve anything to the narrative and could have just been totally cut out from the film. But no, each and every actor in this film serves their purpose and has their time to shine. Jason Statham as Lee Christmas, Barney Ross's right-hand man. This was the start of bigger and better things for him to come. He has shown himself to be very, very charismatic and very, very likable. He showcased his martial arts skills in this film. He showcased that he's a great action star in this film. And he was just really, really good and entertaining. And he has gone on to develop as an actor, as a performer, and show that, you know what, he can be just as witty and just as charismatic as Stallone and Willis and Schwarzenegger. And we've seen it in the Fast and Furious films. We've seen it in Hobbs and Shaw. We've seen it in Spy. He is a really, really well-rounded action performer. Jet Li as Yin Yang showcased superb martial arts fighting sequences in this film. Randy Couture, UFC champion, to see him kick ass and to see him star in this film was really, really good. With Terry Crews, this was his very, very first high-profile role as Hail Caesar. So to see him there, to see the physicality of this man, being a weapons expert, I loved it. And you also get brilliant performances from Dolph Lundgren, you get performances from Eric Roberts. Stone Cold Steve Austin is a brilliant in-ring performer, and he's got great star presence in the ring. He's very, very charismatic, and he translated that onto the screen. And whilst The Expendables is an excellent action film, thoroughly entertaining, it does have some great performances and some great dialogue as well. This was my favourite out of the 3 Expendables films. The final performance of Elena, where they are just blowing shit up, shooting people, wow. Almost like it was another final sequence in Commando, where Arnie just lands on the island, puts on the equipment and just blows the shit out of everybody and kills everybody on the island. And The Expendables is classic popcorn entertainment. Great shootouts, brutal death sequences that are enjoyable and as over the top as they are entertaining. A classic scene where the guys start riding off into their motorbikes and you hear that song, The Boys Are Back in Town. Brilliant ending. And me and Joe Cobra, we were just ecstatic. We were just like we were school kids again. Just because it just brought out the inner child in us. And it was a day one buy when it came out on DVD. So I'll give this film a very, very strong 8 out of 10. So, that's my review. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe button so you can follow this channel and keep on supporting this channel because there will be more content coming. Hit that alarm bell as well so you can get notifications from me when my video is going to be uploaded. Give this video a like as well. Leave your comment with what is your favourite action film starring Stallone, Bruce Willis or Arnie. Or what was your favourite scene from The Expendables? Comment down below and I shall see you all on the next film review. Take care.